Hey everyone, welcome back to Math by Isaac, and in today's video we're going to be looking at completing the square. Let's get started. Alright, so how do we complete the square? Well, it's as simple as this right here. You have x squared plus kx plus k divided by 2 squared. It's that simple. Basically, when you're completing the square, you're given an incomplete trinomial. So for instance, here we have x squared plus 8x, but it's plus something else. What is that something else? What is that missing number? Well, we can't just input any random number. We have to use our formula right here because this is the best time-saving trick in order to complete the square. You have x squared plus kx plus k divided by 2 squared. But what is k? K is going to be the second leading coefficient of this equation. Our 8 is going to be our second leading coefficient, which is right here dictated by 8x. 8 times x is going to give you 8x. Therefore, 8 is our second leading coefficient. So 8 is going to be represented by k. Now we're going to try and solve for our missing value. So we're going to put 8 into this mini equation right here. So basically it's going to be 8 divided by 2, which is 4. And 4 squared is going to give us 16. Therefore, the missing value for this square is 16. 16 is the missing value. So therefore, we completed the square by following this equation. It's that simple. X squared plus 8x plus 16. How about this equation right here? We have x squared plus 10x plus something else. If you think you could try it on your own, go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. And if you've tried it already, let's go ahead and solve it together. So here we have x squared plus 10x plus blank. We want to know what that blank is. What is that missing value? The first thing we're going to do is to follow our equation right here. X squared plus kx plus k divided by 2 squared. We're going to input 10 into this equation. So we're going to put in 10 for our k. So therefore it's going to be 10x plus 10 divided by 2, which is 5. And 5 squared is going to give us what? 25. So therefore the missing number right here is 25. So go ahead and write that right here. So the missing number was 25. Alright guys, let's try one test question before we go. So here we have x squared plus 12x plus 31 is equal to 0. And we're asked to find every value of x. How do we do that? Well, the first thing is, I see this as a trinomial, so automatically I'm thinking what two numbers would multiply to give me 31 but add to give me 12, right? Since we're trying to factor this trinomial before we solve for 0. Now, one thing to notice is that the only factors of 31 we have are 1 and 31. And 1 and 31 don't add to give me 12. Neither do -1 and -31. So the only true way to solve this is to complete the square. So 31 is like an imposter. It's acting as a placeholder, but it really isn't supposed to be there. So one thing we're going to do is subtract 31 from both sides of this equation. So that would leave us with x squared plus 12x is equal to -31. So we have -31 on the right-hand side of this equation. Now, what are we left to do with on this side? Now we can complete the square. So now that we can complete the square, we follow our formula, which would be x squared plus kx plus k divided by 2 squared. So k is going to be represented by 12. So we're going to take 12 and divide it by 2, which is 6. And 6 squared is 36. Now, one thing we're going to do is we're going to add 36 to our left-hand side of the equation. But remember, in mathematics, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side of the equation. So in this case, we're going to have 36 being added to both sides of the equation. So now we have in total x squared plus 12x plus 36 is equal to 36 minus 31. Remember, our -31 was from the top, and our 36 came because we added 36 to both sides of the equation. In order to complete the square on one side, we also have to find whatever our missing value was and add it to the other side. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and solve this. So what two numbers multiply to give me 36 but add to give me 12? That would be the number 6. 6 times 6 will give me 36, and 6 plus 6 will give me 12. So therefore, in order to complete the square, we would have x plus 6 squared. So that would be our new answer. And then this would all be equal to 36 minus 31 is going to be 5. So now if they asked us to factor this would be our finished answer. However, we are asked to solve for all values of x, which is what we're going to do next. So now that we have x plus 6 squared is equal to 5, now we're going to go ahead and try and get x by itself. How do we do that? Let me go ahead and erase the top so we have a bit more breathing room to do some more calculations. Remember, a clean workplace is the best, right? So we're going to go ahead and try and get x by itself. Simple enough by taking the square root of the left-hand side. Because we have everything here being squared, we're going to do the inverse function, which is finding the square root of this side. And we're going to do that to the opposite side as well. So the square root of 5 is also going to be found. So then this would negate our square function right there, leaving us with x plus 6 is equal to the square root of 5. Now that we have x plus 6 is equal to the square root of 5, one thing we need to notice is that when you're finding the square root of 5, we have both a positive and negative answer. When you find the square root of something, especially if it's a positive, you're going to have a positive and a negative number. Because when you find a negative number and you square it, it'll give you a positive. So the square root of 16 is 4 and negative 4. So the square root of 5, since we can't find the actual number, it's going to be the positive square root of 5 as well as the negative square root of 5. So I write it on this side, the negative square root of 5. Notice I put the negative sign on the outside of the square root symbol. So now it's going to be x plus 6 is equal to the negative square root of 5. So now we're going to subtract 6 from both sides, and that would leave us with x. So to make life easier, it'll be x is equal to the square root of 5 minus 6, right? X is equal to the square root of 5 minus 6. Now on this side, we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. So therefore the answer to this would be x is equal to the negative square root of 5 minus 6. Notice that the minus 6 is outside of the square root symbol. It doesn't carry over because that would be a whole nother answer. So make sure you're careful with that. So these are therefore our two answers for x. There we go. That's it for today, guys. If you need more math help, make sure you click on this video right here. It'll help you out with some more math. And as always, guys, stay safe. Remember, Jesus is coming back.